We are back with Chapter 2, Part 2, picking up on number 8. We've got a graph here, and it's asking what is the range shown by the graph. So remember, range is code for the y values. So I'm really only focusing on the cost that I have here. If I look at the values that my graph is using, well, I have dots at 6, at 8, at 10, at 12, and you start to see kind of this pattern emerging. Let's see, we go all the way up to 20, right? I'm not using everything in between. I'm not using every single number. I'm kind of skipping by evens here. I use the 6s and the 8s. So the set of all integers from 0 to 20. Well, we just said I'm not using everything. One, I don't start at 0. I don't have anything lower than 6. The set of all even numbers greater than or equal to 6 and less than or equal to 20. It sounds like a pretty perfect description of what I have here. H, the set of all real numbers greater than or equal to 6 and less than or equal to 20. Well, like we said, we're not using everything from 6 up to 20. We're doing these little jump things where there's gaps. I don't use anything between 8 and 10, okay? The set of all real numbers, that would mean there's no restrictions whatsoever. I'm just using everything. No, there's a clear pattern of what I'm using here, okay? So it's just really kind of reading carefully. Number 9, what are the first 4 terms of this sequence? Well, okay, if I have a formula, I'm going to go ahead and do a graph page, and I'm going to enter my formula. So my formula is -3 raised to the x. I can't put n in the graph. You may have to push over. See how I'm still up in the exponent? I'm going to push over so that now I'm down like a big number, plus 10. And then I'm going to go ahead and look at a table, and I can see, okay, the first term is a 7. There we go, knocks out answer A. The second is a 19, then I want -17, then 91. So 7, 19, -17, 91. There is my winner. Okay, it's just pulling up and remembering nth term, first term you plug in a 1, second term you plug in a 2, and so on. All right, number 10. What is the solution to this equation? All right, I have a single variable, single equation, so I'm going to go ahead and get a calculator page, and I'm going to take advantage of that and solve menu 3, 1. I had to be super careful about typing this one in correctly. 2/5 k minus 2 parentheses 1/10 k plus 3 close parentheses equals -k, make sure you do the negative and not the minus, plus 24. And then don't forget at the end you have to tell it, comma, k. That's what you're solving for. The answer is 25. Okay, if there's fractions and all that mess in there, just be very careful about entering it in the calculator and take advantage of NSolve. Seriously, it makes your life easier. Number 11 is just a slope question. Okay, so I'm going to find 2 nice points on this line. Looks like those 2 will work. And if I count my rise and my run, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So 4 over 1, and it is a negative slope because my line is dropping. So the slope is -4, and I'm always going to encourage you to do overkill and say 4.0, okay? Otherwise, there's just the teeniest risk of it thinking 400 or 4,000, so why not go ahead and do it that way? All right, number 12. We've got this information about a DJ charging and for hours at an event and all of this. And it says, what is the dependent variable? Always start first with, okay, well, what are my variables? Okay, what's changing in this scenario? Well, I've got the number of hours is adjusting, right? He starts with 4 hours, but then he's got additional hours, so we don't know how many hours he's actually got. The other thing that's going to be changing is his overall charge, okay? The total cost. So now we've got to think, okay, do my hours depend on my charge or do my charges depend on my hours? Well, it makes more sense that your cost depends on how many hours he works. So the cost is the dependent. The cost for 4 hours of entertainment, we know that. It's $300. The number of hours the DJ plays versus the number of additional hours requested. When they're that close like that, sometimes it's an indication that that's what we're kind of, it's not an answer because they're kind of almost asking the same thing, okay? All right, number 13. Just simple linear equation. What's the equation of the line? Well, if I go y equals mx plus b, the y-intercept here is -2. So my equation has to end with -2. That knocks out a. And then if I look at my slope, let's see, it looks like we go up to, there's my next dot. So I rise 1 and run 2, and it's a positive 1/2. So C it is, positive 1/2 x minus 2. All right, I think I can get one more question in there. Which table shows a relation that is a linear function? Guys, on this one, I'm going to tell you, get some graph paper, graph all of these, okay? Just go to a grid and actually draw an X and Y. It's not hard. It's kind of time consuming, but it's super easy. If you will do that, you will see that this one very clearly lines up -29, -16, 0, 3, 1, 0, 2, -3, okay? If that was actual graph paper, you would see it lines up perfectly. So just take the time, draw the graph on the paper, okay? You can have as much grid paper as you want, but G is the answer on that one, okay? All right, we got one more part for this one, so I'll come back and do the rest of this packet in another video.